to take this chair with me for the
Okay.
rest of my life. It's so Green Acres.
Well, I have a few words to say. Should I sit down? No, I'm going to stand.
Yeah. Okay.
Ironically, this is Store 54, Part 2. So the first Store 54 was in the Fenway. It was my home, an art gallery, an after-hours club. We had homeless people working there, picking. It was many things. It was an annex to the museum school, mass art. So these two girls show up, and they're about 15 or 16, and they start showing up a lot, and it's the weekday, and it's, you know, why aren't you kids in school? So anyway, one of them's Donna, and that's how we met. Donna and Kitty,
who was dropped off the face of the earth.
So and then Donna had a fake ID. So
Mickey Ward's sister.
What?
And it was easy back then.
Not bad.
Pock Eklund's fake ID was my first ID.
So that's how we met. So I'm proud of, you know, to be involved in this. And I don't know if you've read the book, but I was laughing my ass off, as I should have been, right?
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, Store 54, Part 2. And I met, and as I look around, many of you I met there, or at the Rathskeller, the Hoodoo Barbecue, and I almost forgot to bring out the Hoodoo sign. Excuse me. So it's great that we're all still in.
Alive.
Yeah. And on that note, Donna Lethal.
Donna.
Yay!
You know, when I was a kid, I thought people who lived in apartment buildings were classy and rich because they had chandeliers. My aunt lived in one, and furniture like this. So when I grew up, I wanted to live in an apartment building and have furniture like this. So now I feel really classy. This is a little story about right before all you guys met me. If you can't hear me, tell me to speak up, because I've had a cold for a couple weeks and I'm a little raspy. Stray Cat Blues. I must have been only 14 right before I discovered the Clash. Kelly and I decided it would be fun to stay out all night and sleep on the beach. We spent every summer at Salisbury Beach. Tina would tag along, and she would do whatever we wanted. Okay, she'd sigh with a shrug of her shoulders. Whatever. Mick Jagger is the devil. I looked up to see a guy with a handlebar mustache, tall boy in hand, sleeveless denim vest. He was jabbing at Jagger with a long, bony finger. What? He sold his soul to the devil, man. That guy, he's Satan. Oh, I was wearing a pin of Mick. I was a Keith girl, but I had a Mick too, and a Brian. I was more concerned that there were 4 of them and 3 of us, and I'm not talking stones. What you girls doing? Mustache asked. You got a light? Kelly asked. This could be bad. Kelly was hot and she knew it. She had a killer midriff that I was constantly jealous of and wore halfsy tops. Even after I discovered punk rock, we would always be friends. She with her feathered and permed hair and fringy shoes. Kelly was badass with a killer bod who sold pink hearts and hid them under her pillow. Mustache and his pals jumped to be the first. The sun was just coming up. I was just telling your friend here, Mick Jagger has 666 on his head, like Damien. Oh yeah? How do you know that? I knew from her voice that she was taunting them, but Mustache was too dumb or too drunk to figure it out. He sold his soul to the devil, man. Everyone knows that. Symphony for the devil and all that. I didn't even want to correct this dumb fuck. We had to get away from these guys. They were probably either just out of or on their way back to jail, and I didn't want to be that one last charge that got them there. Guys read so quiet. That pissed me off. I hated when anyone called me that, and as any redhead knows, it's like the N-word. Only other R's can call you it. We've been out all night, crashing on the beach. Partying, huh? Yup. They all started laughing. Right. We wandered around till everything closed and it got really boring. We sat on the beach, cold, finished our joints and beer, got even colder, then finally fell asleep, sort of, with our boombox, listening to Van Halen, Kelly, and the Stones, me. Tina would say, whatever, but finally agreed to Led Zepp because I knew it was her favorite and she'd never speak up for herself. We were staying with my dad. That son of a bitch. All the years we're married, he'd never come to the beach with us. Now we're divorced and he does? This takes the cake, said my mother. But they still rented the same cottage and she smiled to his face when they switched keys. My father laughed at the cottage named Raindrops and said, it better not be my luck. I wondered if my mother made her vacation first so she wouldn't have to follow my father and his girlfriends into the same bed. Thank you. In any case, we got a whole month at the beach. The only downside was that my father invited his old pal McClendon to spend a few days. McClendon was my brother's godfather and also known as the Dancing Bear, a moniker I gave him as a toddler because he was large, drunk, and bearded. The name went around the bar like wildfire and stuck. Unfortunately, Dad couldn't predict that the Dancing Bear snored like one and kept us all awake with his thunderous snoring. We yelled and shouted to no avail. Shut the fuck up in there, my brother and I yelled, a foul-mouthed chorus in the dark. God damn it, you son of a bitch! None of us are going to get any sleep, McClendon, my father roared. But McClendon slept on, a drunken bear oblivious to the death curses thrown at him throughout the night by his hosts. When we woke up, we quizzed him, and he looked incredulous. By the third night, Kelly, Tina, and I decided to sleep on the beach, as much for exhaustion as for fun. I doubt we even told Dad, who was out drinking with McClendon. He wouldn't check our bedroom door. Turn that up, Mustache said. I bet he was a Lynyrd Skynyrd man. I hated Lynyrd Skynyrd. I mean, come on. I was from Lowell, like my brother listening to Molly Hatchet. What a fucking retard. He and Kelly were lighting their cigarettes together now. How was I going to get out of this? I could see him looking down the front of her orange fringe beaded top and smiling. I mean, he must have been at least 28. I couldn't tell. I bet his name was Paul. All guys like that are named Paul. I hated them. I hated this. I hated everything about it, and I didn't want to keep coming back here every summer and doing this. I started to feel really sick. Then I saw something moving in the distance, something white with lights. It was the beach patrol. Fuck, said Mustache. We gotta get out of here. What do you mean? Listen, we all gotta get off the beach, but we, pointing to his friends, we really have to go. Will we see you around later? You gonna be around? Meet us in front of the casino at 8? Kelly, promise? Sure, promise. Kelly smiled up at him. Mustache and his pals promptly ran off the beach as the patrol drove slowly by us. Wonder what that was all about. Duh, I said to her. You gotta wise up. Girls, what are you doing here? Asked the patrol. Shouldn't you be home with your parents? I just laughed and stood up. Sure.
Whoa.